Alright guys, so stop. Before I even start the introduction of this video, I wanted to tell you that yes, it did catch on fire. The pickup in the sending unit itself caught on fire. It must have been electrical issues. So it melted a hole in the sending unit, and thank goodness we didn't have fire spread from there, because normally when you have fire on top of a fuel tank, that's not a good thing. It wasn't in this case either, but at least it didn't spread and light the fuel tank on fire. So with that said, enjoy. Alright guys, so welcome back to Cowboy Ranch Life, and today we've got the 2005 Dodge 3500 with the 5.9 Cummins back pulled in the shop because it's got fuel issues, again. So we're going to see what we can come up with. I'm sure you guys are getting tired of pickup videos, and I'm getting tired of making them.
You serious?
I'm glad that you guys can learn, and hopefully I can learn during making the videos, but it also gets tiring and expensive buying parts and working on your vehicle all the time. So nevertheless, especially when you're not doing it because you want to, it's just because you have to, because otherwise it won't run. So nevertheless, backstory on this has been dying, and then you can put fuel into the fuel housing or the fuel filter housing up on the engine side and get it running again. It kind of chokes and dies, and you can't keep it running. Actually, I got it finally drug in. Justice came and got me and drug me in to the shop here, and then we pushed it in the shop with the skid steer. And so that's kind of the backstory on this. Nevertheless, we're going to get started. First thing we're going to try is the sending unit. I did test it here, and I'm going to show you guys a video in a second. We did get it tested. Well, I turned the key on and tested it, and it did pump fuel all the way to the filter head, but I can hold my thumb over it, so I'm wondering if it pumps fuel to the filter head, but when it's all under compression and the engine's running, if the sending unit's weak enough that it just doesn't do anything, and so then the injection pump on the engine side's got to pump it all, which would be fine, except for when you catch an air bubble or when you go around a corner or something and it sucks an air bubble up, then unfortunately I've got the feeling that it's lacking, and that's why it dies and misses and chokes and won't go over 35 miles an hour. Nevertheless, so to fix this thing, we're going to get a new sending unit, which I ordered offline. You can pay numerous amounts of money. I've seen them all the way to $1,000. I don't have deep checkbook, so I bought this one offline for $50. We're going to see it. It's a pain to get to, so I hope it works. So with that said, let's get to the project. So as you can see there, we got the fuel pumping on the sending unit like I explained earlier, but I put my thumb over it. It will not hold any pressure hardly, so we're going to stick the new one in it. So let's get started on taking the old one out. Alright, so here's where the sending unit's located. This is a bale bed, so it's a little bit different point of entry. Right in there is where it's located. You see there's a metal ring around it. That metal ring has to be turned counterclockwise to be taken out, and then it can be unnotched, I guess, or pushed out of the notches, and that way that will come apart. And then the sending unit you should be able to pull up after the fuel lines, the sending line and the return line, and the electrical has all been unplugged. The far one is the return line. The front one here, or the closest one to me, is the line that sends the fuel to the engine. And then the electrical primarily just runs your fuel gauge, and then also works the sending unit, gives a power to the sending unit. So nevertheless, there is where the sending unit is located on this truck. This is not a cab and chassis truck. If it was a cab and chassis, the fuel tank would be located behind the back axle. Therefore, this one's not, so it's located in front of the back axle, actually partially under the cab. If you do not have a bale bed pickup, I've never owned a pickup without a flatbed or a bale bed of this year model, but I would recommend you lifting the bed off. I've seen quite a few people do that due to on a regular bed you don't have this entry hole, and you don't have the sides opened up like this bed does either. If you can kind of see out the sides there, it's opened up due to it being a flat bed. So nevertheless, that would be another point of entry. Nevertheless, yeah, so we're going to start taking that apart. I just want to show you guys what the sending unit looks like in the tank. Make sure to clean your area. There's a little dirt around there I have yet to clean, but the main part is definitely clean because you don't want any of that dirt or debris inside your fuel tank, because therefore you'll have more issues than just your sending unit. Alright, so we're working on the sending unit, guys. We finally got the ring off. We got all the lines off. Actually, the reason and the cause of the sending unit issue turned out to be the sending unit caught on fire, and so it's all melted up. So we can't get it out from where we're working at. So bad as it seems, we're going to cut a hole in the bed. Yeah, that seems dang near sinful. Nevertheless, we're going to get a saw and cut a hole in the bed, and then we'll go from there. So always remember that when you're cutting by a fuel tank, especially by any source of fuel, definitely get it covered up. No point in getting more fire damage. Also wanted to tell y'all, I purchased this tool. It's probably good for what it does. It says it's a fuel line disconnector tool. It doesn't work on a Dodge, at least not this year. So there's that. Also, I purchased some new. They are Dorman ones. I don't know the brand, if it's good or bad, but they're the little plastic clips that hold the fuel lines on. So I already put them on the new sending unit, if you can see that. One's going to be 5/16. The other one's going to be 3/8. The return line is a tad smaller than the main line. You can kind of see the difference there. Nevertheless, anyway, getting all that ready and cleaned up. The old sending unit we're going to get out of here, but it came out in some pieces. So we're actually talking about maybe trying to have to drain the tank to suck it out. Nevertheless, yeah, so right now I'm just waiting for the saw to get unflooded, I guess, because for some reason it won't start. Nevertheless, waiting on that, and then we'll get started cutting.
Libby, if you get crossways of me, and you'll think 1,000 of brick have fell on you.
Alright, y'all, so here's the old one versus the new one. We had to cut this off to get it out. You can see right there, it melted it. And actually, if you get it just right, maybe you can see it from the bottom side, there's actually daylight in there. Yeah, right there you can see a little bit, but then you see where it got melted. All the melted plastic. Somebody's been in here before me and redone the wire in here. That was broke, I think. If it wasn't, that would make sense, because then it wouldn't be pumping into the truck. But anyway, one of these is missing somewhere. Must be in the tank. I'm going to have to go fishing for that. But that's the old one versus the new one. Also, the fuel gauge didn't work. So I don't know, maybe it just got worn out there. But nevertheless, so there's the new one versus the old one. Yeah, definitely needed repaired, or replaced, I mean. But you can see there it melted it. So I don't know what caught it on fire. I don't know what would have ever been under there to be catching it on fire. But it was. And there's our master plan of attack, that hole there. And we tried best we could not to do it with the hole.
And that melted was before we ever started.
What now?
The melted was before we ever started.
Correct. So that's not something that we would have done in this operation. So, nevertheless, we're going to see if we have to pump out the fuel or not. We're going to see if we can't get a clean magnet and maybe find the rest of the pieces down in there. And we go from there. You can see that in there. The tank is green on the inside. I'm doing this for my own benefit too, because I need to see down in that tank. And it's going to get a little screwy on your camera and viewing this, but there's the inside of the tank. I only fit my phone in sideways, so that's how you guys are going to view it. But there we go. Alright, y'all, so there's the new sending unit in place. So the hoses connected, the electrical connected. I'm going to leave this open for about a day, run it, and make sure it all works good, because I definitely don't want to have to cut this back open and get back in there. Nevertheless, we're going to see about that. I'm going to put about 10 gallon of fuel in it, probably take it down the road, make sure it all don't just choke out and die on us, and let it run around the shop a little bit, just sitting here idling, making sure that it doesn't catch an air bubble. So with that said, we'll hopefully see how she runs. Alright, so I've put the truck back, I put fuel in the filter head to make sure it would start. The sending unit is all hooked up. There's a bunch of junk on the back I'm going to clean up, but I want to make sure this thing runs first. So let's try to start it. My brother messing with my mirror. Let's try to start it, and hopefully she'll whirl up and stay running without hitting an air bubble. With the sending unit running at a low RPMs, let everything get worked adjusted, because this is the first fuel that sending unit pumped. After a little bit, I'm gonna keep working on it cleaning. After a little bit, we're gonna take her out for a test drive. You guys will be included in that, so stay tuned for more. All right, well, we're picking it up to speed here. Just hit 70 miles an hour. She is running good, guys. So, good Lord willing, we've got this thing under control and fixed. As long as we keep fuel to it, looks like maybe she'll just make a truck again. All right, so we've got the sending unit in, as you know. So what are we going to do to cover this hole back out? Well, do you think we should leave it open? That's not an option, because this is a bale bed and we feed hay with it. So hay would get down in there and could technically cause another fire. So we took our plate of metal, we welded a little ear on it, and then we welded these two pieces of steel on it. You can see that. So, then you can take it, latch right down in there, and there we go. We've got our bolt. And there is the completion of one sending unit taken out, new one put in, fire damage solved, and truck back to running. Alright, y'all, so I do appreciate you for viewing this video. The pickup is now running, but it does have some more issues, so we're going to have to work on that, so stay tuned for the next video. We're going to have to work on a couple of things. It needs injectors, is I'm afraid the issue. So, with that said, I don't know if we're going to do that ourselves or we are going to take it to a shop to get it done, but I will keep you guys in tune for that as well. But this is how you put a sending unit in a pickup. If you have sending unit trouble, do not run it too long. I didn't know what I had. I thought I had bad fuel, and I think I ran it too long, which causes lack of fuel to the injectors, and it screwed up the injectors. So I will take the heat on that one. That is my fault. We thought it was bad fuel. All the symptoms led to bad fuel, but it ended up being the sending unit kicking in and kicking out. We thought we were just getting water in the tank, and that's why the truck was sputtering, but it was just the sending unit kicking fuel in and out. So nevertheless, that is the problem there, guys. Also, when the sending unit caught on fire, it did burn a hole in the sending unit, like you all saw, so it could have let water and dirt in, and water and dirt in the injectors are not a good thing as well. It will definitely be one of the key things that burns out injectors. So we're going to see what we can need to do there, but that is how you put a sending unit in a 5.9 Cummins pickup of that year model or era, probably from 2003 to 2007, somewhere in there. It should be the same 2500 or 3500, and I've also talked with some people, and they thought it was the same for half tons. But nevertheless, that's how you put a sitting unit in, ladies and gentlemen. It was a little bit different because we've got a bale bed on there and not a regular bed, but we got her figured out. So with that said, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for viewing this, and stay tuned for the next one.